There is a law of gravity that applies not just to stones and apples, but to the human soul. We are taught from a young age that if we throw a ball against a wall, it comes back to us. Yet, as adults, we forget that this same rule applies to our intentions. We live in a world filled with competitive whispers, with people constantly plotting how to get ahead by pulling someone else down. But there is a brutal truth that the wise have known for 5,000 years. The moment you pick up a shovel to dig a hole for your enemy, you've already fallen into it. You just haven't hit the bottom yet. Consider the anatomy of a trap. To build a trap for someone else, you have to study them. You have to watch their movements. You have to learn their schedule. You have to obsess over their weaknesses. And while you are doing this, something terrible happens to you. You stop living your own life. You become a shadow of the person you hate. You think you are the hunter, but you are actually the prisoner. You are chained to them by your own hatred. You cannot rise because you are too busy looking down to make sure they fall. Imagine a man named Elias. Elias was a brilliant builder, but he was consumed by jealousy of his competitor, a man named Julian. Julian was successful, effortless, and loved by the community. Elias couldn't stand it. He decided that he wouldn't just beat Julian, he would ruin him. Elias spent 3 years devising a plan to sabotage Julian's next massive project. He bribed officials. He planted false rumors. He stole blueprints. He worked late into the night, not building his own empire, but designing the collapse of Julian's. Elias thought he was being clever. He thought he was the architect of Julian's destruction. But look at Elias's hands. They were covered in dirt. Look at his face. It was aged by stress and malice. Look at his own business. It was crumbling because he had neglected it for 3 years. While he was digging the pit for Julian, the rain was washing away the foundation of his own house. He didn't realize that energy is a finite resource. You only have a certain amount of fuel in your tank each day. If you spend 80% of that fuel trying to wreck someone else's car, you have no gas left to drive your own. You end up stranded on the side of the road, watching your enemy drive by, oblivious to your existence. And that is the greatest irony of malice. Often, the person you are trying to destroy doesn't even know you are doing it. They are busy working. They are busy growing. They are living rent-free in your head, eating your food, sleeping in your bed, consuming your thoughts, while they rarely think of you at all. You are drinking poison and waiting for them to die. But let's go deeper into the psychology of the digger. We dig. We dig because we feel small. We dig because we think that if we lower someone else, we automatically get higher. It is the logic of a fool. Blowing out someone else's candle does not make your candles shine brighter. It just makes the room darker. And in a dark room, you are just as likely to stumble as they are. The universe operates on a frequency. When you hold on to deep resentment, you are vibrating at a low frequency. You are telling the world, I am a victim. I am threatened. I am weak. And the world responds to that signal. You attract more conflict. You attract more misery. You think you are plotting a secret attack, but your body keeps the score. Your blood pressure rises. Your sleep suffers. Your joy evaporates. You are punishing yourself in real time for a crime they haven't even committed yet. Think about the physical act of digging a pit. You have to get down on your knees. You have to get into the mud. You have to lower your own elevation to create the hole. You cannot dig a deep pit while standing on a mountaintop. To harm a low person, you must descend to their level. And once you are down there in the mud, wrestling with your jealousy, you are no longer a king. You are a scavenger. You have sacrificed your dignity for the sake of revenge. There's a story of an eagle and a crow. The crow is the only bird that dares to peck at the eagle. The crow sits on the eagle's back and bites his neck. But the eagle does not fight the crow. He does not waste time or energy. He simply opens his wings and begins to rise. He flies higher and higher towards the sun. The higher the eagle flies, the harder it is for the crow to breathe. Eventually, due to lack of oxygen, the crow falls off. The eagle didn't have to fight, he just had to ascend. When you dig a pit, you are being the crow. You are expending all your energy biting the neck of someone who is simply flying higher than you. And eventually, you will run out of oxygen. You will suffocate on your own bitterness. The trap you set is never just for them. It is a structure you build in your own mind. Every lie you tell to hurt them becomes a wall in your own mental prison. You have to remember the lie. You have to maintain the deceit. You have to look over your shoulder. You become paranoid. You start thinking that because you are plotting against others, others must be plotting against you. You lose your peace. You lose your trust in humanity. You end up isolated, standing on the edge of the very hole you dug, dizzy with the fumes of your own toxicity. And the ground at the edge of that pit is slippery. It is made of loose soil. It is instably. Because you have focused on destruction rather than creation, you have no solid ground to stand on. And when the wind changes sand, the wind always changes, gravity will take over. Have you ever felt so wronged, so hurt by someone, that all you could think about was getting even? That burning desire for revenge. That feeling that justice won't be served until they feel the same pain you do. It's a powerful, all-consuming emotion. Today, I want to tell you a story. It's a story about a man named Silas. A simple story, but one that holds a deep truth about the nature of hatred and the real price of revenge. Imagine a small, peaceful village nestled in a valley. The people there were close-knit, and life was generally good. But in this village lived Silas, a man whose heart had become heavy with a grudge. His neighbor, a cheerful baker named Leo, had accidentally trampled a patch of Silas's prize-winning flowers while chasing after his runaway dog. It was a simple mistake, and Leo had apologized profusely, even offering to replant the entire garden. But Silas refused to listen. He saw it not as an accident, but as a personal attack. Deliberate act of disrespect. From that day on, a seed of bitterness took root in Silas's heart. He'd watch Leo from his window, seeing him laugh with customers, his heart twisting with envy and resentment. Every loaf of bread Leo sold, every smile he shared, felt like another victory for his enemy. The trampled flowers became a symbol of everything he felt he had lost. The anger consumed him, replaying the incident in his mind, embellishing it until it grew into a monstrous betrayal. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't enjoy his own meals. The world, which once seemed bright, was now colored by a singular focus, making Leo pay. One night, under the cloak of darkness, an idea sparked in Silas's dark, twisted plan. He decided he would dig a deep pit on the path Leo took to the market every morning. He imagined Leo, laden with baskets of bread, stumbling and falling into the hole. The thought brought a wicked smile to his face. He'd be humiliated, maybe even injured. That, Silas thought, would be justice. That would finally make them even. So, he began to dig. He chose a spot shrouded by trees, just around a bend in the path. The first night, the work was grueling. The ground was hard, filled with rocks and roots. His hands, unaccustomed to such labor, quickly became raw and blistered. Sweat poured down his face, mixing with the dirt. By sunrise, he had only managed to scrape away the top layer of soil. He limped home, exhausted, his body aching in places he didn't know could ache. But the image of Leo falling, the thought of his revenge, was a powerful fuel. It pushed him to go back, night after night. He ignored the pain in his back, the blisters on his hands that bled and then calloused over. He became a creature of the night. His days spent in a tired, irritable haze, his nights dedicated to his pit. He stopped tending to his own home. Dust gathered on his furniture, his own garden withered from neglect, a sad echo of the flowers that had started it all. He grew thin and gaunt, his eyes sunken and hollow. The villagers started to whisper, wondering what had happened to the once pleasant Silas. He'd snap at anyone who tried to speak with him, his world having shrunk to the size of that dark hole in the ground. All he could think about was the pit. How deep should it be? How wide? He became an expert on that small patch of earth. He knew its every stone, its every root. He spent weeks, which turned into a month, digging. The pit grew deeper and deeper, far deeper than necessary to just trip someone. It became a reflection of his own growing hatred, a dark, empty void. He was so focused on the digging, so consumed by the physical act of creating this trap, that he barely thought about Leo anymore. The process of revenge had become more important than the reason for it. Finally, one moonless night, the pit was complete. It was a masterpiece of malice, deep, wide, and perfectly hidden. Silas stood at the edge, breathing heavily, a grim sense of satisfaction washing over him. He had done Italiano. Tomorrow, his long-awaited moment would arrive. He imagined the scene. The crash, the cry of surprise, the baker's goods scattered in the dirt. Exhausted but triumphant, he turned to head home, ready to get some sleep before his morning vigil. But in his fatigue and in the pitch-black darkness, he became disoriented. He had spent so much time in that one spot that he'd lost his bearings on the familiar path. He took a wrong step. His foot found only empty air. With a cry of shock, Silas tumbled forward, falling headfirst into the very pit he had spent weeks digging. The fall was jarring, and he landed with a sickening thud at the bottom. The walls he had so carefully dug were too steep to climb. The dirt he had so painstakingly removed was now a mountain he couldn't move. He was trapped in the darkness, alone with his pain and the overwhelming irony of his situation. As the first rays of dawn crept over the edge of the pit, he heard a familiar, cheerful whistling. It was Leo, on his way to the market. Leo's footsteps paused near the hole. Up ahead, Don, his eyes widening in shock. "Silas, is that you? What happened? Are you all right?" There was no triumph in Leo's voice, no hint of "I told you so." There was only genuine concern. In that moment, lying at the bottom of his own trap, Silas finally understood. He had been so focused on digging a pit for his neighbor that he had realized he was digging one for himself all along. Every ounce of energy, every sleepless night, every drop of sweat hadn't been spent on hurting Leo. It had been spent on destroying himself. The hatred he nurtured hadn't poisoned Leo. It had poisoned him. It had isolated him, broken his body, and trapped him in a prison of his own making. Leo, the object of his obsession, had continued living his life, completely unaware of the darkness consuming his neighbor. Leo quickly ran back to the village for help. The same people Silas had pushed away came with ropes and ladders. As they pulled him out of the pit, covered in dirt and shame, he couldn't even look them in the eye. He hadn't just dug a hole in the ground. He had dug a hole in his life, isolating himself from his community, his own well-being, and any chance at happiness. This story isn't just about Silas and Leo. It's a mirror for all of us. How often do we carry grudges, feeding them, letting them grow in the dark corners of our minds? We think that by holding on to anger, we are somehow punishing the other person. But the truth is, the person who suffers most is us. Holding a grudge is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to get sick. It consumes your energy, steals your joy, and separates you from the good things in life. Revenge might seem satisfying in our imagination, but the reality is often so. It requires us to lower ourselves, to become something we are not, to dwell in negativity. True strength isn't about getting even. It's about having the wisdom and courage to let go, to forgive. Not necessarily for the other person's sake, but for our own. Forgiveness is how we climb out of the pit. It's how we stop digging. It's the moment we decide to fill that hole with something better, with peace, with understanding, and with the freedom to move forward. So, the next time you feel that seed of bitterness starting to grow, remember Silas. Remember the pit. Ask yourself, is this grudge worth my peace? Is this anger worth my happiness? Is this desire for revenge worth digging my own grave? Let it go. Choose to walk in the light, on solid ground. Your future self will thank you for it. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Take care, and see you next time. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a hole? No matter how hard you try to get out, it's a frustrating place to be. You dig and dig, hoping to find a way out, but the hole just gets deeper. This is a story about two mindsets, the digger and the builder. Understanding them might just change how you see every challenge in your life. Imagine you're in a hole. Your first instinct might be to dig. You think, if I just dig harder, faster, I'll find a solution. This is the digger's mindset. The digger believes the answer lies at the bottom of the problem, so they analyze every detail of what went wrong. They replay past mistakes. They ask why me, over and over again. They become an expert on the hole, its depth, its soil, its darkness. But here's the catch. The more they dig, the deeper the hole gets, and the harder it is to see the sunlight. This happens in our lives all the time. Maybe a relationship ended. and you spend months dissecting every conversation, trying to pinpoint the exact moment it all fell apart. Or perhaps you failed at a business venture, and you're consumed by thoughts of your mistakes, digging yourself into a pit of regret and self-doubt. The digger is driven by a desire to understand, but they get so lost in the why that they forget to ask what next. The whole becomes their entire world. Now, let's meet the builder. The builder finds themselves in the exact same hole, but their reaction is completely different. They look up, not down. They see the sky, the light, the world outside the hole. They understand they're in a tough spot, but they don't waste energy digging deeper. Instead, the builder asks a powerful question. What can I build with what I have right here, right now, to get myself out? The builder starts looking for resources. Maybe there's a loose rock they can use as a foothold, a sturdy root sticking out from the side. They see the dirt they're standing on not as part of the problem, but as a potential solution. They start piling it up, not digging it out. They start building a mound, a step, a ramp. Each action, no matter how small, is a step upward toward the light. The builder's mindset is all about forward momentum. It's about taking action, even when the path isn't perfectly clear. When a builder's relationship ends, they acknowledge the pain, but then they focus on building new friendships, rediscovering old hobbies, and creating a fulfilling single life. When their business fails, they take the lessons learned and start building a new plan, a better strategy, a stronger foundation for the next attempt. They aren't defined by the hole. They're defined by their climb out of it. Think about it. Are you a digger or a builder? When faced with a setback, do you grab a shovel and start digging into the past? Or do you look for tools to start building your future? It's a subtle shift, but it makes all the difference. Being a digger feels productive. You feel like you're doing something, analyzing the problem, but you're just getting more stuck. Being a builder can feel scary. You have to face the unknown and start from scratch. But every small step you build takes you closer to your goal. The great news is that you can choose. You can drop the shovel anytime. You can stop analyzing the darkness and start looking for the light. It begins with a simple change in perspective. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Start asking, what can I do about it now? Instead of focusing on what you've lost, focus on what you can build. The hole is just a starting point. It's not your destination. The most incredible structures are often built from the deepest foundations. The challenges you face, the holes you find yourself in, can become the very foundation of your greatest strengths and successes. But only if you choose to be a builder. So, what are you going to build today? What's the first small step you can take to start climbing up and out? The world is waiting for you outside that hole. It's time to start building. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content to help you build your best life. See you in the next one. Start building. Patsinotes, the foundation of your new life cannot be laid on the soil of the old one. You have to understand the physics of the rope. Imagine you are holding a thick, rough rope. On the other end of that rope is the person you hate. You are pulling with all your might. They are pulling back. Your hands are bleeding. Your muscles are shaking. You are exhausted. You think you are winning because you are not letting them pull you over the line. But look at your position. You are stuck. You cannot go anywhere because your hands are full. You cannot hug your children. You cannot hold money. You cannot. Right. Your hands are occupied with the war, and the solution is so simple that it is terrifying. You just have to let go. You don't have to win the tug-of-war. You just have to drop the rope. The moment you drop the rope, the other person falls backward. They lose their balance because they were relying on your resistance to stand up. Your resistance was their prop. Your anger was their fuel. By fighting them, you are actually validating them. You are saying, you are important enough for me to suffer. When you drop the rope, your hands are suddenly empty. And empty hands are the only hands that can receive. Now you can pick up a book. Now you can pick up a tool. Now you can pick up a life. There is a concept called the cost of rent. Every thought you have is a tenant in your brain, and your brain is prime real estate. It is the most expensive penthouse in the universe. Why are you letting your enemy live there for free? Why are you letting them trash the place? Why are you letting them paint the walls with graffiti? Beat them. Not with shouting, but with silence. The most painful punishment you can inflict on an enemy is not revenge. It is irrelevance. It is looking at them and seeing nothing. Not hate, not love, just nothing. Like a stranger you pass on the street. That is the true victory. Think about the poison. There is an ancient saying, resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. You wake up and drink a cup of anger. You go to sleep and drink a cup of bitterness. You think, I hope this hurts them. But look at your own face in the mirror. You are the one looking old. You are the one looking tired. You are the one getting sick. The body keeps the score. Your cells are listening to your thoughts. If your thoughts are a battlefield, your body becomes a casualty of war. Do you really want to get an ulcer, a heart attack, or a stroke because of them? Is that their final victory? That they killed you without even touching you? Do not give them that power. Your health is your revenge. Your peace is your weapon. Your joy is your shield. And consider the witnesses. The world is watching. Your children are watching. Your friends are watching. If they see you digging a pit, they get scared of you. They think, if he can do this to his enemy, maybe one day he will do this to me. You lose your allies. You'll become radioactive. People stay away from bitter people because bitterness is contagious. But if they see you walking away, if they see you handling disrespect with grace, if they see you building a castle while stones are being thrown at you, they will respect you. They will follow you. You become a leader. You convert the energy of the attack into the energy of attraction. The pit is not a place. It is a mindset. It is the belief that there is not enough success for everyone. It is the scarcity mindset that says, I have to blow out your candle to make mine brighter. But the sun does not blow out the moon. The ocean does not fight the river. Nature operates on abundance. There is enough. There is enough money. There is enough love. There is enough glory. You don't have to steal it. You just have to become the person who is ready to receive it. So, here is a final command. Close the construction site of your revenge. Put up a sign that says Project Abandoned. Let the rain fill the hole. Let the grass grow over it. Let nature reclaim the ugly scar you made. You have a skyscraper to build. You have a legacy to write. And you cannot write a new chapter if you are constantly rereading the old one. Turn the page. The pen is in your hand. The ink is fresh. The story is yours. Right? Italiano. Your time is coming. Keep believing. Keep fighting. Don't just watch. Go out and prove them wrong. Thank you for being part of the journey. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.